From a rainy Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we're inside PNC Park, and we will start under a rain delay tonight. It's the Cubs and the Pirates eventually in the first of a 4-game series. Great to have you with us, along with Jim DeShays. I'm Len Casper. Good pitching matchup when we do get started. We're not quite sure how long the delay will last. Jake Arrieta will take the ball for the third time this season.
Yeah, and so far so good. Two very solid starts for Jake Arrieta to get started here in 2015. We look at his numbers against the Pirates. He made 25 starts last year. Did not make a single start against this Pirate team in his career. 4 starts, 3-0 with a 3.13.
A.J. Burnett, believe it or not, he's already 38 years old. He's been talking about possibly hanging it up here the last couple of years, but he's back with the Pirates.
Yeah, he's off to a pretty good start this year as well. Struggled last season in a Philly uniform. He's made 13 starts against the Cubs in his career, a winning record 7-4 with a 3.25 earned run average.
The Cubs would love to flip the script this season. They went 5-14 against the Pirates, losing all 6 series against an eventual playoff team. So coming up, we'll have the Cubs, and they hope to keep their offense going with the rookie Chris Bryant now in the lineup batting cleanup. The Cubs and the Pirates coming up on Comcast Sportsnet.
Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. AT&T Uverse. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh, beautiful PNC Park, and it has turned into a very lovely evening. It's cooled off just a little bit. Say cheese.
Cheese.
Jake Arrieta and A.J. Burnett to kick off this 4-gamer and a 7-game road trip. If tonight's Cubs leadoff man gets a hit, Benny's Beverage Depot will donate $100 to Make-A-Wish, Illinois. Mentioned in the open, the Cubs last year played 6 series against the Pirates and lost all 6 series. So they'd like to turn that around here in 2015.
That last 2 years, the Pirates have gone 14-6 in this ballpark against the Cubs. That's understandable. The Pirates have been playoff teams each of the last 2 seasons. The Cubs have been in a rebuild. The Cubs hoping to turn that around.
Going over the ground rules, Clint Hurdle and David Ross exchanging the lineup card as you check out the umpires. So I asked Joe Madden about how many times he's been in this ballpark. He said he's only been here a couple of times with the Angels, and then in 2008 with the Tampa Bay Rays. Joe is from Pennsylvania, Hazleton, about 250 miles to the east of Pittsburgh. And when he was here with the Rays in 2008, he met a great young kid, a high school kid named Johnny Chalice, who's from nearby Freedom, Pennsylvania. And a very inspirational story, a sad story, as he was going through cancer treatments. Johnny ended up passing away later that season, but he and Joe became good friends. So he was hanging with the Rays. They had changed their name from the Devil Rays to Rays, and Joe was fining everybody on the team $1 for every time they said Devil Rays. Johnny called them the D-Rays, so they fined Johnny $1. Joe put it in his pocket after Johnny signed it for him. He, to this day, has a jersey, a baseball, and a dollar bill signed by Johnny Chalice, whose motto was courage plus believe equals life. Joe still wears the wristband in honor of Johnny, stays in touch with his family, and some of his family members may be here at the ballpark this week. You just saw that red wristband for Joe Madden. So, A.J. Burnett, 38-year-old right-hander, will face this Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Dexter Fowler is the Benny's Beverage Depot leadoff man. Jorge Soler, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. Miguel Montero, 2 homers on Saturday, will bat 5th. Starlin Castro off to a very good start. He's got great numbers against A.J. Burnett. Coughlin in left, Arrieta the pitcher, and Jonathan Herrera the second baseman.
Pirates defensively, they've committed but 3 errors so far this year in their first 12 games, so pretty solid stuff. Plenty of speed to spare in that outfield, and you need it here in spacious PNC Park. Jung Ho Dung making the start at shortstop, the South Korean. This is his second start. Jordy Mercer got hit in the ribs by a pitch yesterday. He's day-to-day, so Gung gets an opportunity. It'll be fun to watch him play. Harrison Walker Alvarez joined him on the infield. Francisco Cervelli, he's new to the Pirates. He's behind the plate. And the Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is A.J. Burnett, 38 years of age. Pretty good start so far. He hasn't won yet. He's 0-1, but a low ERA of 2.25 in 2 outings. 155 wins, 151 losses with a 4.03 lifetime earned run average for the longtime Major League pitcher. Doesn't quite have the giddy up on the fastball he once did. He'll throw sinkers, curveball, changeup.
But he's lost velocity and added tattoos, so that kind of evens out.
Yeah, well, if you lose fastball, so you got to add a little ink to compensate. So if you're a Cub hitter tonight, patience is the key. We'll work outside of the zone, try to get you to expand.
First pitch swinging, Fowler.
So much for patience. And Fowler got one to his liking, took a whack at it. Now you'll see Burnett start to go to work. Last year he walked 96 men, most in Major League Baseball. His walk rate was the third highest in all of Major League Baseball. He was a Philly then. 8-18 with a .459 earned run average for the Phils.
That's a curveball for a strike. 60 degrees. It was a nice day here in Pittsburgh, and we had kind of been under the threat of rain. And it did drizzle, but nothing more than that about an hour ago. So they put the tarp on after BP, and we had a 28-minute delay before getting started. 0-2 pitch, fouled right at the plate.
Yeah, I think they expected a worse weather than they got, and now we're hearing there's a 2-hour window before perhaps some more rain blows in, but right now the conditions are ideal.
Cervelli setting up toward the inside. Jam shot bouncer to Alvarez. Kind of strange to see him over on the other side of the diamond. He was 5 games at first late last year. They started every game there this year, the former third baseman.
Yeah, first base has been a little bit of a hole here for the Pirates the last couple of years, and the emergence of Josh Harrison, who was an all-star last year, allows them to move Alvarez to first base. He had all kinds of throwing problems at third base last year. He's got good hands. And he made a bunch of errors, bad throws from third base. So it should be a better defensive unit with Alvarez at first and Harrison at third.
Now the right fielder, Jorge Soler. And ball one. Most Cub fans pretty familiar with this ballpark, even if you haven't been here. The Cubs have played here a lot, obviously, in the same division. That's going to get into right as Alvarez didn't quite know if he should go after it or stay at first. And a seeing eye single to the other way for Soler. Probably feels like he got a break there.
Yeah, it's a breaking ball that backed up, or well, I guess just a running fastball. Had a lot of movement in on the hands of Soler, and I don't know that anybody was really going to make a play on this ball. If Alvarez goes and gets it, by the time he gets it and returns that ball to Burnett at first base, likely Soler safe.
Anthony Rizzo, excellent homestand. He reached base 13 times in 28 plate appearances. So left center, it gets out to 410 in the north side notch right near the bullpen area. The home run area here is right down the left field line and right field where it's 320 to the foul pole, but it got a 21-foot high wall in honor of the late Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, this is one of the toughest home run parks in all of baseball.
See Polanco playing really deep against Rizzo, who takes a strike on the inside corner.
Yeah, I think it's as you look at the Pirates outfielders, they're pretty straight up. Marte is a little bit towards the line in the left. But you see a lot of clubs come in here because it is such a spacious outfield. They decide whether you're going to take away the lines or bunch the gaps. Most clubs, I think, try to pinch a little bit to take away the alleys, but they have such good speed in the outfield. They can afford to have Marte cheating towards the line a little bit. And perhaps that's why they're deeper, too, just to give them a better chance to cut a ball off in the gap.
Just underway, a one-out single for Soler. He's at first. And a 1-2 count on Anthony Rizzo. Chris Bryant in his first road game in the big leagues, is on deck. There's a pitch on the ground. Backhanded play by Walker. They got him at second, but not at first. That looked like the neighborhood play, which is not reviewable, but if it's not the neighborhood play, you can challenge it.
Yeah, this to me, it looks to me like Gung was off the bag by the time he got this throw, and the throw pulled him off the bag. Not so much that he was just, trying to avoid contact here.
So Joe Madden waiting for the thumbs up or thumbs down from Dave Martinez, who's talking with the video guys, and no challenge. Yeah, the timing was off on that play. Just the second major league start for Gung, spelled K-A-N-G. Rizzo dancing off first, and Bryant takes ball one.
Anthony with a couple stolen bases the other day. Burnett's been pretty easy to run on in his career.
He's got a pretty big, slow leg kick. As he fires to first, Rizzo wasn't very far off the bag. You see the veteran crew chief Joe West, first base umpire in the background. Well, no home runs in his first 3 games, but you see putting up good numbers. 14 plate appearances. He's got 3 hits, 3 walks. He's been hit by a pitch. There goes Rizzo. He got a great jump. Swing and a miss by Bryant. The throw is late. So the Cubs now with their 14th stolen base. They came in tied for first in the major leagues in steals.
Now look at Rizzo. Burnett never makes him stop. He dances off first base. A great jump. Cervelli didn't have much of a chance.
Meantime, 1-2 on Bryant. Make it 2-2. Not a huge crowd. It's April. It's a weeknight, and the Penguins are hosting the Rangers in Game 3 of their Stanley Cup playoff series tonight. In fact, the Pirates are not televising this game. We're the only game in town, TV-wise, for baseball tonight.
This is the anniversary of the first ever Cubs televised game. Like in 1945 with Bert Wilson at the mic.
Full count on Bryant. Montero on deck. Here it comes, and he walked him. Now, we were talking before the game off the air. This is not the same type of Cubs team A.J. Burnett is used to facing. In terms of 3-2 pitches off the plate, he's not going to get quite as many guys to chase as in the past.
No, Cubs are working a lot of walks. They're seeing a lot of pitches. Oh, here's another one, Montero. That's a big part of his game, too. He's a patient hitter.
The pitch to Montero is a strike. Burnett has used that curve a lot. It's a knuckle curve here in the first inning. Montero tried to really sell that pitch as an inside and off the plate pitch.
Well, let's take a look on pitch tracks. Montero has a legitimate point. DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire, brings it up, but it appeared to be inside.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and the inning is over. Cubs strand a couple. The Pirates coming up against Jake Arrieta. For the first time this season at 6-6, their Southwest starting lineup. Former Cub farmhand Josh Harrison, great year last year, turned that into a multi-year contract. Polanco in right, McCutchen in center, Neil Walker, the switch-hitting second baseman, in the cleanup spot. Marte in left. Pedro Alvarez, you see, he's hit a ton of home runs since moving to first. Cervelli, the former Yankee. Gung at short, and Burnett, the pitcher, hitting ninth.
Cubs defensively this evening. Coghlan, Fowler, Soler, left, center, right. Brian Castro, Herrera, Rizzo, third to first. Montero behind the plate, and the Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher for the Cubs this evening is Jake Arrieta. Quality work in both of his starts. A win, a loss, a 1.98 ERA. He was perfect through 3 in his last start. And then he got ambushed, gave up a 3 spot in the 4th on 5 hits, but overall 6 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and 5 punch-outs for Jake.
Yeah, so 14 innings in which he's worked this season. He's only allowed those runs in 1 of those innings. 1-1 on Josh Harrison.
Jake missed a little time last year, only made 25 starts, but it's still a pretty good body of work, and surprising that he did not face this Pirate team last year with all the games these two teams play against each other. But he didn't. When Hurdle finished runner-up last year in the Manager of the Year voting to Matt Williams. He won it the year before.
Hit hard and a diving stop. Castro up with it quickly, out at first.
How about that? Pretty play by Castro to get things started here in the bottom half of the first. This ball's got a lot of pace on it. And quickly able to get to his feet and sling that ball over there to first.
He had a very rough spring training defensively, but has been terrific here in the regular season. Gregory Polanco, 100 games into his major league career. He's put up pretty pedestrian numbers since his debut last June against the Cubs. But it's very early. He's only 23. And he laces that one into center field. Fowler will come over and cut it off and keep Polanco to a single. 6'5", 230, as we said when we saw him first time last year. He's all legs. He is a tall man.
I spent a couple of years atop the Pirates' top prospect list. Got his chance last year, as Len mentioned. Didn't really do a whole lot, but man, you talk about hype. Not the Chris Bryant level, but people here were pretty jacked up when Polanco got to the big leagues. And they feel like they're set for a while in that outfield with Polanco joining McCutchen and Marte.
McCutchen has been dealing with a sore left knee here in the early going. Got his hair chopped off, I think, in spring training. A little bit of a different look. A perennial MVP candidate. He won it 2 seasons ago. And last year led the majors in on-base percentage, led the National League in OPS. That's low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And led all Major League outfielders in OPS, third best among all players. Victor Martinez is number 1.
Always has hit the Cubs. Probably does it against most teams. Polanco takes off. Here's the throw by Montero. It's late. He stole that one off Arrieta.
Polanco putting those long legs to good use. 4 for 4 in stolen bases now. A lot of times guys like Polanco, you really see their speed when they're going first to third or second to home on a base hit. Sometimes the guys with the longer legs don't have the quick twitch, quick break.
Did you notice he came up off the bag? And Joe was thinking about challenging that play and decided not to. Ground ball into right. Polanco will be set. Soler up with it. The throw is just late. Good effort by Soler, and he almost got him. It's 1-0 Pirates.
Pretty solid swings by the Pirates here early off Jake Arrieta. Harrison hit a rocket. Castro made a heck of a play on to get things started. Polanco and now McCutchen with back-to-back hits. Yeah, this is a great throw by Soler. Low enough where if Rizzo wanted to cut it, he could. That freezes McCutchen at first base. And close at home, but a good call.
The Cubs outfielders, JD, have done a really good job with their throwing arms. They've got 6 assists as a group. That leads the major leagues. And I'd have to think advanced scouts are starting to tell their people, be careful, especially against Soler.
Yeah, I think Coughlin has 3 of those assists, and sometimes it's reckless base running. But Soler is the one guy out there that third base coaches are going to be fully aware of his arm strength.
And raw outfield assist numbers don't really tell you the whole story, because as reputations build, certain guys who are not considered good throwers or accurate throwers end up with a lot of assists because teams take advantage and just simply run a lot, and vice versa. Guys with really good arms don't get a chance to throw.
Yeah, they need to come up with a stat for, advance not taken because we were scared. We were scared of his arm, so we didn't run.
McCutchen always a base stealing threat. Switch hitting Neil Walker, the Pittsburgh native. Won a Silver Slugger last year, 23 home runs. He drives this ball out into the alley. Coghlan able to keep it from getting to the wall. McCutchen will stop at third. It's a double for Neil Walker. And that is 3 straight hits. And remember, the out recorded was a terrific play by the shortstop Castro in this inning.
Yeah, this is very uncharacteristic to see Arrieta get hit around like this early. It happens to a lot of starting pitchers until you get locked in out there. Everybody's vulnerable in the first inning, but Arrieta last year and for his first couple of starts this year has been immune to that. Not tonight. Going to have to start getting a little more precise with that fastball. Maybe push the Pirate hitters off the plate a little bit.
Now the 26-year-old Starling Marte. Off to a slow start, but he's heating up. He knocked in 5 on Saturday against Milwaukee in a cut and a miss on a curve. I think we said it last year, JD. This is probably the toolsiest outfield in baseball, right? With Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco.
Yeah. Speed, power guys. Marte, one of 3 players in Major League Baseball last year with at least 10 home runs and 30 or more steals. Arrieta trying to work him over with breaking pitches here. Marte, a .348 hitter after the All-Star break last year. Overall for the season, .291, 13 long ones and 30 steals. It's a good club. They got star caliber players at a lot of positions on the field.
Arrieta would love a strikeout here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sharply hit grounder at either of the corner guys. They could possibly throw home. Not up the middle. They're playing back. Curveball city in this at bat, and it's now full. 3-2.
This is where you really lean heavily on that scouting report. What is Marte's tendency? Is he going to get aggressive in this situation on 3-2? Will he chase that breaking ball out of the zone? Front door cutter up and in on his hands a little bit. Last year that was a real go-to pitch for Arrieta.
Cool night, but as you can see, Arrieta working up a sweat here in the first inning. This will be his 20th pitch.
Montero asked for that timeout. I think he called one pitch and then had a change of heart. Yeah, you know, in those last 2 cutters, I think they're trying to go away with him, and he's not finishing, and they're backing up on him. They're not hanging out over the plate, so he hasn't been hurt by Marte. I don't think that's what he's trying to do with either one of those last 2 pitches.
Another 3-2. Right back to Arrieta. They've got McCutchen caught up. And the tag applied. Kind of a dangerous throw by Arrieta right into the runner, but Bryant able to snag it and apply the tag. 2 outs.
Yeah, what appears to be a pretty easy play. The dynamics change a little bit when you got a guy like McCutchen in that rundown. ideally, probably be better if Jake were to give that ball up a little bit earlier. I mean, he did the right thing in cutting McCutchen off and getting him headed back towards third, but unload a little bit earlier would have been a safer play.
So first and second, and a backdoor curve in there on Pedro Alvarez. Game-winning homer in the third inning yesterday versus Milwaukee. Hit well, but Fowler will make the catch. So the Pirates get one. We have sad news to pass along, and we want to send out our condolences to the family of longtime Bears linebacker Doug Buffone and a longtime local radio broadcaster. Doug passed away earlier today at age 70. Dodged a bullet as he gave up 3 hits and only 1 run. Time for our lows never stop improving. A.J. Burnett trailing only CC Sabathia among active pitchers in terms of strikeouts.
EJ's been around a good long while. Broke in with the Marlins back in 1999. Originally drafted and signed by the Mets.
He has 10 strikeouts behind Sandy Koufax. And starts Starlin Castro with a strike. Excellent defensive play in the bottom of the first by the 3-time All-Star shortstop. Hits in 9 of the first 11 games this season.
Ooh, good swing. Oh my goodness!
Oh no!
I hit that
I
girl
think
back
a fan right behind home plate might have been too close to that net. And we hope she's all right.
Take a little time here. Joe West going to come over and talk with Burnett to get some medical attention down to her. So that list of active strikeout leaders, noteworthy. King Felix on that list. You know, all those other guys are mid to upper 30s. Felix Hernandez just 29 years of age, so gives you some idea of what he's been able to accomplish.
Yep. So we have a little bit of a delay here. The backstop, it's a net, and it has a little give, obviously. Fans sitting in the front row are usually a couple of feet behind that net, but if you're too close to it,
Yeah.
Can't be in harm's way.
So, how many baseball games have I seen in my life? Thousands upon thousands. Yeah. I've never seen that happen before.
So, well, we hope that she is okay, and you can see the concern on the face of all the players as well.
Yeah, and we always caution fans when you're sitting down the lines above the dugouts, you're really in harm's way on sharply hit foul balls. You never think about people directly behind home plate because of the screen. You figure they're going to be okay.
We're not going to show the replay. It's hard to watch. It looked to me like she was maybe walking to her seat and maybe had her back to the field.
Yeah. That's
and just horrible timing.
Yeah.
So if you just joined us, we had a 28-minute rain delay before we started. Jake Arrieta struggled in the first inning, gave up 3 hits and 1 run, but able to limit the damage.
Yeah.
Just underway here in the second. We've got a delay because of an injured fan.
It could prove to be a very big third out he got there in the first inning, because he wasn't really fooling the Pirate hitters, and they put a lot of really good swings on him. To get out of that with just allowing the 1 run could prove large here this evening. Pirates feeling pretty good about their club. They just swept the Brewers over the weekend. Offense really hasn't clicked yet. I figured it'd be pretty good in terms of run scoring. The pitching's been good. Starters have been solid. We'll see Francisco Liriano tomorrow. Boy, he's had a lot of really good games against the Cubs. It's he and Travis Wood tomorrow evening, and then Jason Hamill, Vance Worley on Wednesday. The finale of the series is Thursday afternoon. Kyle Hendricks against Jeff Locke.
Pirates have not faced a left-handed starter. Only team in baseball that has not faced a southpaw, but that will change tomorrow. And it's Wood against Liriano. So Burnett taking some warm-up tosses here.
And that man may be in the lineup tomorrow. Chris Denorfia, recently recalled from a stint on the DL. He's had a couple pinch hitting appearances. With the lefty Liriano going tomorrow, he might get starting assignment in left field.
While we have a moment, let's take a look at the... Well, we'll mention the early NL Central standings. The Cardinals beat the Reds last night for their 5th straight win. That game took 2 hours, 2 minutes. National television. It's got to be a record for an ESPN Sunday night game. So the Cardinals are 8-3. Cubs 6-5. Pirates 6-6. Reds have lost 4 in a row. Milwaukee 2-10. Did you see Scooter Gennett?
Yes.
5 stitches in his hand as he, I guess, reached for a bottle of soap in the showers in this ballpark, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, and cut himself. But it's very early.
Yeah, hard to really argue that any trends are being established. Everybody felt like the Cardinals were going to be a good club, and they certainly have been. Matt Carpenter's off to a great start. And, now there's rumblings about Ron Renicke's job being in jeopardy with the slow start for the Brewers. Their worst start ever, actually, through 12 ball games.
They're hosting Cincinnati tonight. And it's the top of the fourth inning, 0-0. Anthony DeSclafani and Willie Peralta. And no Scooter Gennett in the Brewers lineup.
Did you watch any of the Patriots Today game from Boston?
A little bit.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern Time start. The tradition, the Patriots Day, the running of the Boston Marathon, and the Sox and the Orioles were on. 7-1 Boston win. And that was one of the points last year we got into that conversation about if you were commissioner for a day, what would you do? And one of the things I would do is I would say there has to be at least one day game every day in Major League Baseball.
I like that.
So baseball junkies could get their fix.
So we continue to wait as they attend to a fan who appeared to get hit by a foul ball right behind home plate. Just underway here in the second inning. 2 strikes on Starlin Castro. And baseball doesn't seem very important at the moment. And if you're A.J. Burnett, you just have to keep throwing here, as we've probably now been delayed a good 7 or 8 minutes. And when we do resume, it'll be a 2-strike count on Castro.
Here's how the bottom of the first started. Josh Harrison with a bid for a base hit, and Starlin Castro gobbled it up. Cubs played pretty solid defensively so far this year. They've committed 5 errors as a team. They've yet to allow an unearned run.
They're still working behind the plate. And I don't know if they have a stretcher down there yet or not. They have several medical personnel attending to the fan who got hit. And I worry not only about the foul ball that hit her, but she really went down hard in that front row.
Yeah, pretty good chance she lost consciousness, right, when she got hit. She got hit in the side of the head by the foul ball and went down like she took a uppercut from Mike Tyson.
Very scary situation here at PNC Park. I think a lot of fans are trying to find out what exactly happened. Fans who might be sitting in sections where they can't see what's going on behind home plate. Well, obviously, partner, we don't want to speculate, but the longer this goes, the more concerned I get. And I think everybody here feeling the same way. And hopefully, whatever paramedics are doing behind home plate for that fan. It's precautionary, and that she's going to be just fine. And I'm wondering if Joe West, who's now walking toward home plate of the dugout, if he may call the Pirates off the field.
Yeah, maybe get on the phone and call upstairs to stadium ops and see what kind of information they're getting from the medical people.
Yep. So he's going to talk it over with Clint Hurdle. So we will step aside. We'll be back from Pittsburgh, and we'll try to get you up to date on the fan and resume this game here in the second inning. 1-0 Pirates. Will be back. Been delayed for a good 12-13 minutes, and A.J. Burnett, the starting pitcher, has walked into the Pirates dugout. As we wait, we have an injury delay. A fan injured behind home plate got hit in the back of the head by a foul ball as she was apparently finding her seat in the front row. And the ball hit that screen, and she was very close to the screen. We are not going to show the replay for obvious reasons. We got to look at it during the break. And the good news, JD, there was an usher near her and appeared to kind of help break her fall.
Yeah, it looked like he got a hand on her and helped her on the way down. But that's pretty much all we can tell you at this point.
So as we wait, let's take a look at another National League division, the West. The Dodgers have now rattled off 7 in a row. They cooled off the hot Rockies over the weekend. And that's not a big surprise, JD, that the Dodgers are off to such a good start. I think at the bottom of the division, however, the Giants have lost 9 of 10. And we just saw a Padres team that I was very curious to see. And after this weekend, you can't help but be impressed with what A.J. Preller has done to add to that offense.
Yeah, Padres, a much improved team. I wouldn't be surprised to see them at or near the top of that division for a good chunk of the season. And frankly, I'm not really stunned to see the Giants at the bottom of this division. Now, ultimately, I think they'll be better than the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. They've got some health issues. Hunter Pence is still out. They've got an aging rotation that is showing its age. That Giant club, they seem to find a way, to be competitive at least. They got one of the best managers in the game in Bruce Bochy, but he can only do so much. And the thing about the Giants' bad start is they've had a lot of Rockies and Diamondbacks they've got a series coming up with the Dodgers starting tomorrow night. So, yeah, it's a tough start for the defending world champions.
So we'll be back in the second. We're under a delay, 1-0 Pirates over the Cubs. Due to a fan injury, and let's recap the first inning. As the Pirates with 3 consecutive hits, Gregory Polanco with a single off Jake Arrieta, then a steal of second. Andrew McCutchen then knocked him in with a base hit to right. Good throw by Soler, but it was just a little late. And Neil Walker followed that up with a double, but eventually Arrieta got out of it to keep this game at 1-0. Patrick Mooney has stopped by, Cubs beat reporter from Comcast Sportsnet. You can follow Patrick, our Cubs insider, all season long right here on CSN. Brought to you by nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Visit Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. Again, we will keep you posted on what's going on down on the field. Right now, we're waiting, but Patrick, interesting homestand last week. Chris Bryant made his debut on Friday. Just give us kind of your recap of the weekend's festivities with Chris Bryant.
Well, I think we kind of got a chance to see, Chris Bryant's personality, how he handles everything. I mean, the guy had a billboard up across the street. He's got his new Red Bull commercial up, and he really just kind of rolls with everything. He's not someone who's going to try and make it too complicated. He likes to keep it simple, and he's kind of walking this fine line of, he doesn't want to get too much attention in terms of the commercial and stuff like that, but he feels like he's kind of selling the Cubs and the excitement around this team and this organization.
Well, the fan is now on a stretcher and is being helped off the field here, out of the stands. So that's why the crowd is cheering in the background. And I would imagine A.J. Burnett will get a pretty good period here to warm up as we will continue the second inning. So Arizmendi Alcantara has continued to struggle. Jonathan Herrera has made 8 straight starts. But you have Addison Russell now, who's playing second base. So might we see some changes to the roster here in the next few days?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of knew where we were going with this. We're going to drive the Russell watch story. But, he's supposed to be as good as advertised. He's every bit the prospect Chris Bryant was. And you look out across the field now, the Cubs could use an upgrade at second base. I think the transition from short to second should be a little easier. And Joe Maddon was saying today, this guy's bat, he's ready to contribute in this lineup right away. They got to find a position for him, and I think this could be the year where he plays second. Starlin has obviously played really well at short, and then maybe the Cubs reassess things this winter moving forward with some pretty good problems to have.
Right, yeah. So if getting Russell on the Major League roster is the priority, I think you find a spot for him to play. And right now there seems to be that hole at second base. There's no need to push Castro off the shortstop position. Russell's a good enough athlete. He could come up and play probably just about anywhere on the field. And there's a bit of a hole at second base now. So,
and Alcantara's got to get some stuff figured out. As you said, JD, even the look on his face, you could just tell there's a guy with sagging confidence right now.
Yeah, he's lost at sea right now in the batter's box. So it would do him good, if indeed that's how this plays out, to go down and play every day and kind of groove his stroke.
So again, our thoughts and prayers with the fan who was injured. And we will resume. 2 strikes on Castro. And there's a base hit into center. So in the first pitch, after about a 22-minute delay, Castro with a single into center. Last thing, Patrick, Javier Baez has not yet returned to action, correct?
Yes, he's supposed to be there shortly. Obviously, the Cubs are giving him as much time as he needs. I think there was a thought maybe he'd go to Arizona for a couple of days just to get his legs underneath him again. That wasn't confirmed. But obviously, once he gets back there, and the Cubs hope he'll start rolling again, and maybe he could enter that picture at second base. But right now, it certainly looks like the Cubs are putting Addison Russell on a fast track.
Patrick, as always, thanks for the time.
No problem.
Appreciate you stopping by. That's Patrick Mooney, our Cubs insider, CSNChicago.com. 23 minutes, the official delay, but that will not count as part of the time of game tonight. 1-0 on Chris Coghlan, runner at first, nobody out here in the second.
No surprise to see Castro hit safely against A.J. Burnett. He came into this game with a .448 batting average against him.
In the air, shallow center. And it's McCutchen who almost overran it. You see the look on his face saying, uh-oh. One away.
I almost overran that ball. He could read his lips.
Here's the pitcher, Arrieta. 0 for 4 strikeouts to start the season. Harrison way in at third, and a strike called. Where's the ball?
Rayburn didn't see it. He stepped on it.
And I'm not sure what the call is, but Joe West has
I think Joe's calling him
made
out.
the call. Yeah. Yep. So Castro's going to be sent back to first, and Joe Maddon wants an explanation. Cervelli could not find the ball, and because we're sitting on the moon up here in our booth, I had no idea where it was. So did Jake step on it?
Yeah. And I believe it was in fair territory. Tries a little slug bunt thing and just rolls right.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, that's two things I've never seen before.
Well, Jake's fortunate he didn't injure
Roll
himself.
Ankle, yeah.
Yep. So 2 unassisted. Batter interference. So don't step on the ball. Once you bunt it straight down is the lesson. Here's Jonathan Herrera. Castro still at first. And now 2 outs. Outside. I want another look at this. See where the ball actually was. And DJ Rayburn, look at the home plate umpire. I don't think he saw Jake step on it.
No, he didn't, and that's good umpiring by Joe West because he realized his partner did not see what happened, so Joe came in to make the call.
In the air, McCutchen in center, and that will end the inning. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Pirates. For Game 3 of their first-round NBA playoff series with the Bucks. Coverage starts at 6:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Arrieta back to work after a first inning in which he probably could have given up a lot more than he did. And ball 1 on Francisco Cervelli. Castro at short. 1 away. Jung-Ho Kang. Second start at short. Jordy Mercer hit by a pitch in the ribs yesterday. And a cut and a miss.
Yeah, a lot of debate around here as to whether Gung should stay in the big leagues. He really struggled in spring training. He hit 40 home runs in Korea last year. Signed as a guy that can move around the infield, provide support at second, third, and short. Just not sure how that bat will translate into the major leagues. But he would be the first position player to come out of the KBO, the Korean Baseball Organization, to make this transition to the big leagues. There's been some pitchers. Hee-Seop Choi came in and played minor league ball here before coming to the big leagues.
Late swing as he fouled. So Gung with a 4-year contract, club option for 2019. $11 million total plus the $5 million posting fee. Shortstop by trade, and he strikes out swinging. Number 1 for Arrieta.
Good cutter down that time. If you recall back to the bottom half of the first, he was leaving that pitch up and in on a lot of the right-handed hitters.
Painted for strike 2. Not much of a hitter, but you see he's connected 3 times. Montero going, okay then.
Montero cradle this one right on the corner at the bottom of the knees.
Arrieta's made 2 perfect pitches on the pitcher Burnett. He got 1 call, didn't get another, but swing and a miss, strike 3, and that'll end the inning. They go down in order, 1, 2, 3. Get into the top of the 3rd. Time for our Xfinity high-speed action. John Lester deciding to be resourceful, and same goes for Anthony Rizzo.
I love it.
You said the smartest play in the history of baseball.
I don't know that Anthony needed to drop his glove to be ready to catch Lester's glove, but he felt that way, and it was a great heads-up play. Again, that's one you don't practice. You don't do that in spring training.
You never practiced that?
Well, PFP boys, we're going to work on the. I mean, when Terry Mulholland did it years ago, it became okay. Everybody was aware of it. All right, this happens to me. I know what to do.
2-0 on Fowler. Grounded out to start the game. One for 13 in his first 3 games of the season, but his last 8 coming into tonight, 343. A lot of power, a lot of speed, a lot of patience. A.J. Burnett still has that good curveball. 2-2.
A pitch he has relied heavily upon over all these years, especially with the velocity going down as he's aged.
On the ground, and Harrison spins, throws, and gets him. Playing third base, but he's played enough second base to feel comfortable on that side of the field. And that was a nice play against a fast guy.
Yeah, once he started to retreat for that ball, I thought with Fowler going down the line it was going to be a mistake, but Harrison able to flag it down and make a good strong throw after doing a little stumbling pirouette here.
One strike on Soler. Ground ball, base hit into right. His first time up. Ground ball, base hit, center field. So I guess he's got to roll one into left his next time up.
It only seemed fair.
That'd be the single cycle.
Mm-hmm.
No, the single cycle would be left, center, right, infield.
Infield. That's just strength there. Ball's up and in a little bit. Muscled up the middle. He may have designs on stealing a bag here.
Rizzo held on his swing. Got a tweet from Drew. Why do they call the Pirates the Bucks? Short for Buccaneers. I guess we do take for granted every once in a while that people know what we're talking about. We say the Bucks, the Buccos.
Arg!
Some fans in Detroit call the Tigers the Bengals. There goes Soler. Rizzo knocks that one into left center. Soler will continue on his way to third. Gary Jones puts up the stop sign. First and third now. Back-to-back one-out singles.
Joe Madden has not been shy about starting base runners, and it's paid off. Not just with the stolen bases, but getting extra bases. Again, it's so important to have speed in this outfield to get over and cut that ball off. Otherwise, Soler scores. RBI chance here for Chris Bryant.
One nothing Pirates. The Cubs threatening. I should say 1-0 swashbucklers. But the offspring trying to change that.
The offspring?
The Cubs. Trying to create new nicknames. We've been stuck on Buccos for the last, 100 and some years. Or the Cubbies. Bounce to third. They'll try to go around the horn, and they do. And that gets Burnett out of the inning. Still 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Monday, the Pirates are in town for 3, and then we'll get our first look at the Milwaukee Brewers. Tickets are still available for all those ball games. Get your tickets at Cubs.com.
Here's Harrison, who started that 5-4-3. And deflects this one off the leg of the pitcher Arrieta. It deflects right to Castro, and it goes 1-6-3 to get Harrison.
Harrison's hit the ball sharply twice tonight. Nothing to show for it.
So he made an out before I had a chance to note that while he started a 5-4-3 double play tonight, remember he started a 5-4-3 triple play against the Cubs last year here on September the 14th. Two-0 now on Polanco. Single steal and the only run of this game in the first inning. So just to follow up on the nickname thing, if you go back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, as you know, a lot of teams didn't have one nickname. You look at Cubs history, the Orphans, the White Stockings, the original name, and I think a lot of permanent nicknames ended up resulting from what the newspapers decided.
Newspaper writers, yeah, because they were just like they were the Chicago club, and then they would get a nickname, and it would kind of stick for a while.
3-2.
The Dodgers were the bridegrooms for a time.
Yep.
Because they had a bunch of guys that got married in the offseason.
MentalFloss.com, which is a great website. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And all kinds of fun articles. They published one in, I don't remember when, I don't have the date here. It has the origin of all the baseball nicknames, which is very cool. And I will read the Pirates one, and we've referred to this before. Again, quoting MentalFloss.com. After the Players League collapsed in 1890, the NL's Pittsburgh club signed 2 players whom the Philadelphia Athletics had forgotten to place on their reserve list. A Philadelphia sports writer claimed that Pittsburgh pirated away one of those players, and the Pirates nickname was born. So that's why they're the Pirates.
Not because there was a bunch of marauders sailing up and down the Allegheny, ripping off barges. Whatever else you might rip off on the Allegheny back in the day.
Cubs franchise, I said White Stockings, Colts, Cap Anson's Colts back in the late 1880s and in the 1890s. Then the Orphans. And then the young roster in the early 20th century became known as the Cubs.
So why do you think the Orphans? What was the origin of that? There had to be a reason, right?
Well, it says in the Mental Floss article, when Cap Anson left the team in 1897, Colts became the Orphans. So maybe it was
they were orphaned by
Cap Anson. I'm glad that one didn't stick. That just, I don't know.
No, that'd be a tough one to market.
1-0 Buccos. Budweiser Bleacher Fridays on select dates throughout the year. Budweiser Bleacher Fridays will include post-game entertainment, exclusive giveaway items, special food and beverages, and more. For more information and to buy your Budweiser Bleacher tickets, visit Cubs.com. Strike called on Miguel Montero. 2-homer game on Saturday, his first 2-hit game of the season. And it got his career home run total to 99 and counting. So his next homer will be number 100. Jake Arrieta tonight making his 100th career start. Cubs Charities today announced the launch of the 2015 Cubs Charities Diamond Project. Got an informal informational session coming up, probably fairly informal too, on May 6th at Wrigley Field. So interested nonprofit neighborhood-based organizations can email diamondproject@cubs.com to attend. And go to cubs.com/Diamond Project for more information.
Got him with a curveball last time.
Another curve that kind of backed up, ended up trailing away from the left-handed batter. Sometimes you can see that index finger lifted, the nail dug into the ball on that knuckle curve grip. Fastball that time, 3-2. Another 3-2, and the curve is outside. Ball 4. That is a leadoff walk. Cubs have had base runners, haven't they? They've had chances.
Yeah, that's the nature with A.J. Burnett these days. You know, he's always been a guy who's walked a fair number. And again, if you're patient, you're going to be able to work some walks against him. The key is now keep the ball off the ground. He's always been an extreme ground ball pitcher.
Burnett from Little Rock, Arkansas, so near Travis Wood's hometown of Bryant. Oh, 2 on Castro as he continues to do damage against A.J. Burnett. Toward the hole, going to be a tough play for Gung, and everybody's safe as he throws it into right. Montero on his way to third. So it'll be a single for Castro and an error on the shortstop Gung to allow Montero to advance an extra base.
Cubs had a big chance last inning, couldn't cash in. Now they've got a great opportunity. First and third, nobody out. Probably should have just put that one in his back pocket.
That's 2 for 2 for Castro. Both hits coming on an 0-2 pitch. Strike called on Coughlin. Big chance now. First and third, nobody out. Cubs coming off a 3-3 homestand in their first series loss of the year, dropping 2 of 3 to the Padres. Shallow left. Montero's probably going to have to hold here as Marte makes the catch, and he does stay at third. That is a huge out for Burnett because you got Arrieta coming up, the pitcher.
And just no chance on this shallow fly ball to try to score Montero there. That's the first out of the inning, that catch in left field. This is a situation where Joe Madden and a lot of managers like to put on a safety squeeze. First and third, one out.
Throw over, Castro back. Happy birthday wishes to Judith Rice watching tonight. Burnett's pitch, ground ball, Gum to Walker to Alvarez, and the pitcher's best friend has been Burnett's companion here these last 2 innings, the double play ball. Double play balls at big spots. 5-4-3 to end the third. Runners at the corners. And then did it again in the fourth inning.
Well, that last one was interesting because we talked about the possibility of a safety squeeze there, and the thinking is if you don't, if the runner on third doesn't read it or there's not a bunt where he can score, you at least move that back runner into scoring position if you get the bunt down and you stay out of the double play. But Joe decided to roll the dice there, let Arrieta swing. And it was positive at one end in that he hit the ball sharply, but it turns into a double play, and that's kind of the theme here. Our T-Mobile game changer, 2 big double plays turned by the Pirates in the last 2 innings. 5-4-3 there on Bryant, and then this one sharply hit, and then an easy double play for the Pirates / Buccos / Swashbucklers.
Neil Walker to lead it off.
Walker, one of the better offensive second basemen in all of baseball. Hit 23 home runs last year, 21 of them coming from this side of the plate. He's a switch hitter. Good changeup.
Yeah, really good let-up pitch by Arrieta. Got the whole arsenal.
He's got the whole kit, as they say.
Another changeup. That'll go 3-1 as Arrieta getting settled in here. 9 in a row retired since the 3 straight hits in the first inning. Now Marte 0 for 1.
So this is also the anniversary of the first game played at Weigman Park.
1914?
1916.
Oh, the 16, talking about the Cubs?
Newly built Federal League Weigman Park. The Cubs, renamed Wrigley in 1926. And greeting fans on Addison Street, have you ever heard of Joa? J-O-A, the bear? Joa the bear.
No.
Yeah, it was a bear. It was a bear. It was a mascot, and they had a little cage built for him on Addison Street. And he lived there, and he was named J-O-A after part owner J. Ogden Armour. I'm assuming of the Armour food family.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I was reading a little bit about this earlier today. This whole mascot thing was a big deal way back in the day. If teams had children were mascots for a while, and wives and celebrities that came through town. People just cling to them as a good luck charm.
Castro gets Marte. Joa, no, I'm not familiar.
Yeah. I've seen those old black and white pictures of that one bear, that kind of hideous-looking creature, way back in the day. But it was not uncommon for clubs to have live mascots.
Right.
Sometimes they'd be roaming around the clubhouse.
Well, we may see live animals roaming the clubhouse this year with Joe Madden as the new skipper. Maybe a cute little cubby. The Pirate Parrot. Oh, 2 on Alvarez from New York City, and that's where Sam Sherman lives, but watching us tonight. Born and raised in Chicago, now living in New York. I don't know if Sam is the only living boy in New York. Simon and Garfunkel album. That's an album cut. Don't worry about it. You got to be a real big fan to get that reference. 1-0 Pirates.
I was waiting.
Back on CSN Chicago as the Blackhawks look to take a commanding 3-1 series lead over the Nashville Predators. Coverage starts at 8 on Comcast Sportsnet. Cub fans here in the Berg. That is not Jason Mott. I don't think it would be encouraged that relievers sit in the stands. But he had a Mott-like beard.
Kind of falling in line.
Herrera made an out in his first at bat, the first time he has made an out against A.J. Burnett. He's now 4 for 5.
Hit the ball pretty hard to center field. Cubs need some extra base hits. Double plays are breaking their backs here.
Not an ideal spot for that sinker for Burnett, but no swing by Herrera. That was a sinker that was up. You don't usually get me over sinkers that are belt high. There's another one.
First one at the top of the zone. This one a little bit lower, catching the inside corner. Herrera just trying to see some pitches, looking to work a count here.
So he swung at the sinker that actually ended up sinking a little bit and grounds into an out.
Cubs Authentics is the premier outlet for all MLB authenticated game used and autographed Cubs memorabilia. Visit Cubs.com/authentics for more information and to bid on weekly auction items, including game used baseballs, jerseys, bases, and much more. The Cubs will donate proceeds from the sale of Cubs Authentic items to Cubs charities.
One out. Here's Fowler. Changeup hit on the ground to Walker.
Because of the double plays, Burnett able to keep his pitch count down here. More efficient than we normally see from AJ. 60 pitches with 2 outs here in the 5th. All right, so here goes. Soler needs to get this base hit to left here to keep his little run going. One to right, one to center.
About a deep drive right down the line.
Been watching the Pirate outfielders here tonight, and their alignment really hasn't changed regardless of who's hitting. I guess it's just such a big field. They're just like, we're just going to defend this big pasture. You're going to take this piece of the pie. I got this. And Polanco, you got that over there.
Each guy's got a third.
Yep.
That's it. Yep. The 1-1 from Burnett, muscled into right. So Soler is 3 for 3. They've all been singles.
Well, I think the problem, if you shift in the outfield here, you give up a potential, doubles turn into triples, singles turn into doubles. Ball down the line that might otherwise be a double. If it takes you so long to get to it because you're playing towards the alley, that's going to turn into a 3-base hit.
Third career 3-hit game for Soler as you check out what Burnett's done. So you see a lot of base runners with the 6 hits and 2 walks. But the double play ball's really helping him and hurting the Cubs big time. Ball 1 to Rizzo.
Soler was on the move in the 3rd inning when Rizzo got his base hit. Soler able to go first to 3rd there. With 2 outs, maybe a straight steal in line.
Two and 0.
Now, conventional wisdom says you don't start a base runner here 2-0 because you got a slugger in the batter's box. You don't want to take a risk of getting thrown out at second base with a slugger in the box and a hitter's count.
Rizzo just got hit, and you could hear that one clearly on our home plate microphone. I think that's the 5th hit by pitch already for Anthony.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Pretty good chance he's going to end up leading the league in that category. We'll call him the king of pain.
Ugh.
My concern is the hands. He's right up on top of home plate. Pitchers are going to pitch him hard in, and I'm just afraid of the one that gets away. Well, kind of like happened with Darno of the Mets yesterday. The catcher broke his hand. I'd be in favor of Riz wearing one of those pads across the back of the hand to get some protection.
The other guy who gets hit a lot is Marte. 41 times the last 2 seasons, Starling Marte. So it's Chris Bryant with 2 outs and 2 on. The 1-0 misses. Montero on deck.
A lot of times when a kid first comes to the big leagues, they'll hide him down near the bottom of the batting order. Cubs obviously have chosen not to do that with Chris Bryant. I don't think you could hide him. I think what he had done in the minor leagues has gotten everybody's full attention.
Yeah, this is by and large where he's going to hit. Quality pitch by Burnett. 2-1. Here it is. 3 balls and a strike. Well, I'm not calling a home run here or this week, but I will say this. I think if Chris does hit a home run in this series, it's going to be to right. He's got good power to the opposite way. And that Clemente wall might be beckoning at some point.
Okay. Not a call. Just
something to think about.
A slight premonition.
He hit a few to the opposite way in spring training. Runners go. There's a drive into right for a base hit. Solaire's going to score. The throw will go towards second, and Bryant has tied it up at 1. RBI single, second time he's been on. And a 1-1 deadlock. Nice 2-out rally here for the Cubs.
Fastball with some cutting action, up, out over the plate, and there's that good off-field stroke you were talking about.
I think the key there was the double play was not in order for Burnett. He had already gotten 2 outs. High on Montero.
Soler, Rizzo, Bryant combined to reach 7 times tonight in 9 trips to the plate.
The other thing Joe Madden will point out when we talk about where guys are hitting in this lineup is the cleanup guy is really a 5 guy in his mind because of the pitcher hitting 8th. So he looks at Soler as really a 3, Rizzo as a 4. And I know there have been a lot of fans out there who they see the pitcher coming up in certain spots and they say, you know, you're giving up runs here by having the pitcher come up in that spot. Well, a couple of things to consider. It's not about the pitcher at all. It's about the 9-hitter and then the top of the order. Yeah, you're going to have situations like we've seen where the pitcher comes up in a big spot.
Right, and if the pitcher was hitting ninth, there are going to be times when he comes up in a big spot.
Boy, it keeps getting worse for the Brewers. Jonathan Lucroy had to leave. He took a foul ball off his foot. With Cincinnati now leading the Brewers 6-0 in the 8th inning. Line drive into left. Rizzo around third. Marte's throw is not in time. And a nice piece of base running while Cervelli was staring at the home plate umpire. Chris Bryant decided to take third. Way to keep your head in the game, kid.
Absolutely. And Clint Hurdle out, checking with his guys to see whether he wants to challenge this play at home plate. Good throw by Marte. Drifting a little bit towards center field, so to come up and make that strong, accurate throw is very impressive. So close at home plate.
As I mentioned earlier, we are the only broadcast tonight, so we do have limited looks at. They may have gotten him, and they will challenge it. Usually we have a few extra looks because of two telecasts. This is probably the best look. Is it conclusive, though? That is the question.
Looks like the tag is applied on the hip. The question is, did the foot get to the plate prior to the tag being applied? I have yet to see anything that would, would confirm or overrule.
The guess here is they got him, but I think the call's going to be call stands. And that would be a 2-1 Cubs lead. And as I mentioned, Cervelli started to argue with the plate umpire, DJ Rayburn. And Chris Bryant decided, well, I'll take third before time was called. That is one thing, JD, I do think players have to get ingrained in their head. Just don't argue, don't yell at the bench, wait till the play ends, then deal with all that stuff. Because I think players right now are
challenge,
check the replay.
Yeah.
And it's like before the play's even over. It's a very emotional reaction.
Right. No, now they're going to call him out.
No, they overturned it. Now, wait a minute. Joe may challenge the home plate. He's going to
challenge that Cervelli was blocking the plate?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
How about this?
Yeah, that Cervelli did not provide a lane for Rizzo to get to home plate.
I don't think we saw this last year. A double challenge, one by each manager. Is there a lane?
No, he was blocking the plate.
Did he have the ball before his foot was out?
He did not. That's old school blocking the plate there, but that's the play that has been deemed illegal. Anthony stepped right on his foot. I mean, and that's just good old fashioned baseball play prior to the you can't block home plate rule. His foot is planted before he gets the ball. Maybe you could argue that he gave the back corner of home plate.
So as they were looking at the first challenge, and they called him out,
right.
Joe Madden went to Joe West to say, if you guys change this, I'm going to challenge it. Crazy.
Sure it's not a full moon tonight?
The Pirates ended up winning essentially both of them. Rizzo was called safe, then called out on the first replay. Joe Madden challenged the collision rule, saying that Cervelli did not give Rizzo a lane, and when they reviewed that, they determined no, he did have a lane. Or that Cervelli had the ball before Rizzo got there.
Yeah, I think they probably are going to say that he had given him the back corner of home plate. I still haven't seen a look that's conclusive enough to overturn the call on the field, which was safe.
Right.
That last replay we showed, if you just showed me that in isolation and said, what'd you think? I would probably go, he looked like he was out. But if the rule says it has to be definitive to overturn it, then I'm not sure I buy it. Plus, I colored in my scorebook with Rizzo scoring, and that just makes a big mess.
Cervelli bounces back to Arrieta. The 10th annual Race to Wrigley charity run presented by ATI Physical Therapy is this Saturday, April 25th. Outside Wrigley Field this year, the Cubs introduce an additional race, the Let's Run 2 10K. The course runs through the streets of the scenic Lakeview neighborhood before returning to the friendly confines. Sign up at raceToWrigley.com. Wow, that was pretty nuts. So, let's see. Clint retains his challenge. Clint Hurdle keeps his challenge. Joe Madden loses his. And once we get into the 7th, they can suggest or request a review, but it's ultimately up to the crew chief. 2-1 on Jung-Ho Kang.
From South Korea. They call baseball Yagu over there. Y-A-G-U.
Bounce past Arrieta, but Castro is there near second, and he makes the play. Jake Arrieta really cruising along.
Yep. It was kind of unlike Jake in the first. He gave up a lot of hard contact, but was able to negotiate his way out of that, allowing just the one run. And since then, it's been fairly typical Jake Arrieta stuff.
13 in a row retired by Arrieta.
The ball hasn't left the infield, has it? Or what did Alvarez do last inning? I didn't get that one in my scorecard.
Alvarez struck out.
Yeah. So, yeah, the ball hasn't left the infield since the first inning. I have to put a Scooter Rizzuto, WW, wasn't launching in that part of my scorebook.
Arrieta makes this play. So 14 straight batters retired by the Cubs starting pitcher. We're tied at 1. CHN for Game 3 of this series with the Pirates. Join us for the call at 6 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Statue of Roberto Clemente. So I've got the first challenge. The call was overturned because they determined the runner was tagged while his foot or leg was over home plate. So they had a look that showed them that Rizzo's foot was not on the plate when the tag was applied. That's the first part of it.
Well, they must have a look that we don't have.
The original call was safe. So it went from 2-1 Cubs to 1-1. Curve strike to Castro, who has a couple of 0-2 hits. And he's 0-2 again. Got him right where he wants
I think
him.
he just wants to get there. And it was a real bad swing at a breaking ball in his last at-bat that got him to 2 strikes.
Caught by McCutcheon. Coughlin has flied out twice. Congrats, Dan Vogelbach. He is the Southern League, that's Double-A, Player of the Week. 22 years old. Off to a great start. Through the first 9 games, .484 average, 15 hits, 7 walks, and a .579 on base percentage for the Tennessee Smokies. Two and 1, but Burnett wanted it. Did not get the call.
Certainly could have been. See if Coughlin can get into one here.
That's a ball you're glad you hit foul on a 3-1. That's a bad feeling for a hitter in that spot to hit a little dribbler to first. Well, Burnett just got to the bag in time. He thought Alvarez was going to take it by himself.
Yeah, and I thought Alvarez was too. He had other plans. He catches this ball fairly close to first base. He has to back up to catch it, but that's one you probably should take yourself. Anytime you can save a throw, you should do it.
This is a spot where you don't mind the pitcher coming up with 2 outs, nobody on. In the 8th spot, of that second leadoff hitter lead off an inning, as opposed to the 8 hitter making the final out and your pitcher leading off the next inning.
Jorge De La Rosa rejoined the Rockies rotation tonight. Probably wishes he hadn't. 2 innings, he's allowed 9 hits and 9 runs. Padres all over the Rockies, 9-0 after 2 innings.
Popped up on the right side of the infield, and it's Walker to end the inning. Bottom 6, 1-1.
Kids Club of the Chicago Cubs. Team up with Clark as a member of Clark's crew and receive kid-specific perks, experiences, and merchandise. Visit Cubs.com/Clark to sign up today and be part of the fun all season long. That was the Clemente Bridge you were looking at. Crossing over the Allegheny back to downtown Pittsburgh.
Harrison, Polanco, McCutchen, top of the Pirates order here in the bottom of the 6th.
You all right?
Yeah, it's a big press box. Pittsburgh and Milwaukee.
Get your sprint work in?
Yes, I did. They, as we've told the story many times before, the facilities are on the other end of the press box. I'll get my workout in. Castro. Boy, he's grooving defensively, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just playing with a little more confidence now, right? I mean, when he struggles a little bit, it tends to snowball on him. He'll start to get tentative out there. Right now, he's attacking the baseball, feeling good about things. Pretty play.
Well, I mean, for Starlin, you've seen him a lot. I've watched every play he's ever made at this level. It's all about it being aggressive. Good things happen when he's aggressive. Usually bad things happen when he sits back and waits. And right. I think it helps him to move. And he's had to move a lot tonight. The 1-0 on the way to Polanco, misses outside.
A rare 3-ball count here for Arrieta. He hasn't walked anybody tonight. He's allowed just 3 hits. They all came consecutively back in the first. Blanco hit 14 home runs last year between AAA and the big leagues.
Fowler in. Chest high grab.
First ball to the outfield since Alvarez lined to center in the first. Good of Jake to let the outfielders play a little bit too. He's like Eddie Feigner out there tonight, the king of his court. He doesn't need anybody else.
Here's McCutchen.
You know, from the first inning, since the first inning, Castro, Rizzo, and Arrieta are the only guys that have touched the ball, except for that last fly ball to Fowler.
It's like a hot basketball shooter. Just give him the ball, let him shoot.
That's amazing.
Okay, I've got the explanation on the second call where the out call was confirmed. Essentially, what Francisco Cervelli did fell within the allowed rules, according to what replay officials saw. That's going to be extra bases most likely as Soler picks up the loose change on the warning track, and it's a double for McCutchen.
Well, McCutchen's hot or cold when the Cubs come to town. He seems to heat up. Well, Arrieta's streak is snapped, and if you were going to put money on who would be the guy to do it, McCutchen, the former MVP, would be a good place to lay your bet. But it comes with 2 outs. So he was within his legal right.
They said wherever he set up before he got the throw, once he received the ball ahead of the runner getting there, he then moved into a blocking position. So essentially they believe that he did everything correctly.
Well, so I'm guessing they're kind of tweaking the interpretation of this rule, because remember last year there was so much talk about the catchers had to be out of the baseline prior to the ball getting there, and he plants his left leg in the baseline before he's got the ball. He kicks it out to the side to block Anthony after he received the ball. So that
is legal.
Yeah, well, to me that's just old-fashioned classic play at the plate.
Well, didn't Joe Torre kind of further explain the rule last year after the play in Miami where Jeff Mathis had the ball like 30 feet before the guy, but they said he was blocking? So it's not that you can't block the plate, it's that you can't block it, as you said, without the ball, and they determined that he had the ball before the runner got there. So you are free to agree or disagree with it, but that's
well,
what the
I
call
hope
was.
That remains the interpretation. That's just different than what they were doing early last year.
It
because
is.
Catchers were forced to go out in front of home plate and catch, and then kind of try to do a sweep tag.
Right. Yeah, I think they kind of tweaked it late in the season to address this, where it got so ridiculous that if you catch the ball 50 feet ahead of the runner.
Yeah, the strict interpretation of the rule last year was if the guy rounds third base and he's 10 feet down the line, and the catcher at some point before there's any, if he's blocking the plate at that point, it could be ruled an illegal block of the plate and the guy's awarded home.
So I guess Rule 713, right? That's the big collision rule. Well, a really important call in this game, because it would have made it 2-1 Cubs, and the inning would have continued. And I think your point, which is correct, is that the reason Rizzo didn't get his foot on the plate was because he was blocked. but deemed a legal block.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, 1-1 as we head into the late innings.
Physical therapy offered children ages 5 to 13 the ultimate Major League experience during one-week sessions in the Chicago area. Suit up in Cubs gear, meet a current Cub player, plus receive top-notch baseball instruction. First camp kicks off in Lake Forest on June 22nd. Sign up at Cubs.com/camps. A.J. Burnett is done. Archimedes Caminero into the ball game for the Pirates. Big, hard-throwing right-hander on for the 7th time. 3.18 ERA for the Greek mathematician.
I was just envisioning Matthew McConaughey doing a sports car ad. The new Archimedes Caminero.
I want to see the Archimedes versus Socrates Brito matchup.
Yeah.
The kid we saw in spring training with the Diamondbacks. But this guy, he can get to triple digits. He has this year, and it's early, he has the highest average velocity of anybody in the National League, including Aroldis Chapman.
That one registered at 96 on our gun for a strike on Jonathan Herrera. A.J. Burnett, 6 innings, 8 hits, 2 walks, only 1 run. Broken bat, bouncer right back to the mound on 99 on that pitch.
Ray Searich, pitching coach of the Pirates, has got a great reputation. Caminero, a guy who they got a waiver claim from the Marlins, ended up paying cash for him. Marlins had him for a while. He's got a big arm, a lot of strikeouts, but big-time control issues as he worked his way through the Marlins organization. So Pirates took a flyer on that big arm, and he's coming off a very good spring training. And so far, so good here in the regular season.
Here's Fowler. 1 strike.
Better dial it up a little bit, boys. Here comes the gas. Some new faces in this Pirate bullpen. Rob Scahill, Antonio Bastardo, formerly of the Phillies.
Strike 3 called. Man, oh man. That 94, by the way, was a cutter.
Yeah, I think he throws his changeup 90-91
to set up this pitch.
Talking about cheese at the knees, that's unhittable. And that's probably the point Dexter Fowler's making to DJ Rayburn. You hit it.
And he was designated for assignment by the Marlins on January 28th. Soler turns on it, and he's got his first career 4-hit game. He's trying to stretch it into 2, and he's going to be safe. He got his foot in ahead of the tag.
Wow, that was 100 miles an hour. I'm not sure what it was coming off the bat. We were talking about his exit velocity the other day. It's a new stat they're tracking. You know there's a lot of steam coming off it. If you turn on 100 miles an hour, you've generated some pretty serious bat speed. And absolutely you go for 2 with 2 outs in the inning. Another good throw by Marte.
Two-out RBI chance, Anthony Rizzo. 7th inning in a 1-1 tie. Cutter for ball 1. The final in Milwaukee, the Reds beat the Brewers 6-1. Ryan Braun hit a 9th inning home run, his first of the season in that loss. So Brewers have dropped 6 in a row, and they are 2-11. It's not all rosy for the Reds either. Even though they snapped a 4-game losing streak, Brian Price went off on his pregame media session. He used that one 4-letter word 77 times, according to reports. Strike called. C. Trent Rosecrans wrote today in the Inquirer that Price was upset about reports that Devin Mesoraco was not with their team Sunday night. I guess he wasn't. The fact that it got out that he wasn't, he was not happy that the Cardinals might have found out based on reports. 3-1.
I just assume he hadn't been with the club. Who was he not happy with?
C. Trent, I believe, and also upset that it was reported that 2 catchers were on the same flight. As Rizzo takes ball 4, and that'll set it up for Chris Bryant. Price was apparently angry that he didn't tell Kyle Skipworth that he was headed back to the minors. So, like, the report was out that there were 2 catchers headed to St. Louis. So, yeah, he was not happy. So Rizzo on 3 more times, different fashions. Single, hit by pitch, and a walk. Bryant tied it with an RBI single in the 5th.
Well, this is going to be fun here. There goes 100 miles an hour again from Caminero. So, you know, so far Bryant has been pitched very carefully in his big league at bats. He's seen a lot of breaking stuff. Should get a fastball to hit at some point in this sequence.
Two balls, no strikes.
Ray Searage out to talk to the hard-throwing right-hander. Maybe he wants to just kind of back him off a little bit. Reading a story about this kid today, and one of the things that Searage has done is, one, he's straightened him up a little bit in his delivery. He was kind of hunched over before, and they feel like he's got a little bit better command because of that. But he's also encouraged him to just don't feel like you have to throw it 100 miles an hour every time. Just kind of back off a little bit, be willing to sacrifice a little velocity for command. Got some big old hands, doesn't he? 6'4", 250. See if Chris Bryant can make a loud noise here.
Two and 0. Long pause by Caminero.
Wind has picked up a little bit can see Camaro's pant legs flapping, and the flags have stiffened quite a bit.
Chris Bryant out into deep center, back toward the wall, right at the base of the wall. Soler scores. Rizzo coming hard. The throw to the plate gets away from Cervelli. Bryant now around third. Throw goes there. He's headed toward the plate. Throw there. He's going to be safe. Oh, my, what a play. A Little League home run.
He didn't go deep, but he got 4 bases. And high fives and smiles aplenty in the visiting dugout. He made that big noise. It didn't get out of here, but great swing of the bat by Chris Bryant. A challenge fastball at 99. A home run in many ballparks. Stumble, stagger, break, retreat, shift gears.
And we almost had 2 more collision plays at the plate. Just don't ask me how to score it. It's 4-1. And ball 1 on Montero. A 2-out rally, just like they did in the 5th, setting up Bryant, who's knocked in 3 tonight. Strike called. They're still trying to piece it together in the press box. It's got to be a 2-run double.
Yeah, double, takes third on the throw, and then scores on. Somebody's got to be charged with an error. Cervelli not catching the throw home, maybe?
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, error charged to Cervelli.
Wow. Three and 1 now to Montero.
It's somewhere out there. There's a full moon. I know we had that shot of the moon earlier. It was just a little sliver, but
this has been one of those nights. My goodness. Popped in the left. And again, if we were in Little League, we would have given him a home run. Because all that matters is he hit the ball and he scored on the same play. This is the big leagues, and Chris Bryant has arrived. 4-1. Soler and Bryant, all big part of all the scoring tonight for the Cubs. I mean, as Rizzo's coming to the plate, I'm thinking, here we go again. We're going to have another one of these collision plays. Ball gets away from Cervelli. Bryant stumbles around third. Gets caught in a pickle. He heads to the plate. I'm thinking, oh no, another collision play. Ball gets away again. And the Cubs lead by 3. And Jake Arrieta still on the mound.
That trio right there have collectively reached base 10 times tonight.
Chopped foul. Jonathan Lucroy to the DL. Fractured toe. As the news gets worse for the Milwaukee Brewers.
The Braves had a relief pitcher suspended today for testing positive for PEDs. Name escapes me. Macaharon, something like that.
I haven't seen that. I will find it.
I've got it right here. 80-game ban for Andrew Macarahan. M-C-K-I-R-A-H-A-N. I don't understand how these guys are continuing to take performance-enhancing drugs. He was cited for taking Ipamorelin, I-P-A-M-O-R-E-L-I-N, which releases growth hormone.
Zach Rosscup up in the Cubs bullpen. Yeah, there's been a rash of those suspensions here lately.
Actually used to be in the Cubs organization.
He went. Joe West made the call. And Marte is out on strikes.
6 punch out of the night for Arrieta. Still hasn't walked anybody.
These Cubs have been immensely entertaining, these games. I mean, this is only the 12th game. And the main reason is the amount of talent we've seen infused into this roster. So many fascinating things, and some crazy things have happened as Bryant really had to pick it up quickly and could not. And Alvarez has an infield single.
They charged him with an error. Initially, they said E6 because they thought it was a shortstop.
See, well, is he clearly out if he picks it up in your mind?
Yeah, I think he misplayed it by retreating the way he did, but generally you don't judge it that way. No, I don't think he's clearly out if he picks it up. And that's the problem with the shift. You got Brian out there kind of in a position that he's not used to playing.
Swing and a miss by Cervelli.
Alvarez will probably hit 10 balls on the ground on the left side of the infield this entire season.
We have a statement from Brian Warecki, the Vice President of Communications for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I will quote it here after this next pitch regarding the fan who was injured earlier tonight. Two strikes on Cervelli. Arrieta home outside. During the top of the second inning, a female fan was struck in the head with a foul ball. After initial treatment by PNC Park and Pittsburgh EMS personnel, she was placed on a stretcher, moved to a nearby ambulance, brought to the hospital for further treatment. She was conscious and alert at the time of transport. The 1-2. Strike 3 call. Graciously thanking her caregivers while giving a thumbs-up gesture to nearby fans. Our thoughts and prayers are with her. We will share additional information as it becomes available. That's from the Pittsburgh Pirates. As it has started to lightly rain again here. 2 outs here in the 7th.
Now, the fact that she was conscious and gave the thumbs up, that's good news.
The pitch, low and outside.
Gung's got that big leg kick he uses as a timing mechanism. And I would think that's a little bit harder to hit with as a part-time player when you're not getting regular at-bats. I guess just timing in general is an issue if you're not getting enough at-bats.
Bounce to Castro. And the flip to Herrera to end the inning. 4-1 Cubs. Sports talk show in town with CSN's own David Kaplan and Chicago Tribune writer David Haw. The Kap and Haw Show every morning at 9 on CSN Chicago.
Left-hander Antonio Bastardo into the ballgame now for the Pirates. Pitching for the 5th time, just an inning and 2/3 so far. Spent the last few years with the Phillies.
Jake Arrieta with his 7 strikeouts tonight has reached 500 in his career. He gave up the 300th run of his career in his 100th career start. So a lot of round numbers for the Cubs starting pitcher.
Fastball, slider, changeup for Bastardo. Not overpowering, average velocity.
And low for a ball to Castro, who's 2 out of 3. Detroit won again. Alfredo Simon over CC Sabathia. 2-1 Tigers over the Yankees. The Tigers are 11-2. 2-run seventh did it.
Alfredo Simon, who was so good early last year, was an all-star for the Reds, off to a great start again this year.
Fouled back out of play. 11,777. Paid crowd tonight. As you can see some blankets in the distance. It has cooled off. Started at 60. Got to be in the mid-50s or lower by now. Bounce to the third baseman, Harrison. And he throws to Alvarez in time. Chris DeNorfia will hit for Chris Coughlin.
He'll likely get a start tomorrow with the lefty Lariano on the mound, so not a bad idea to get him an AB here off the lefty Bastardo.
Pedro Strop up in the visitors' bullpen, which is actually in front of the home bullpen. I find that a little odd because I would think in this ballpark the better bullpen would be the one closer to the field, but maybe not. And as we know in all ballparks, the home team gets the better of whatever two things are involved. Usually.
Yeah, and they get to make the last line change too. We've started whooping here.
Oh, my favorite. Just in time.
Bastardo is a guy who works on changing eye level with you. He'll go downstairs with a fastball, then elevate, come off that changeup too. As I mentioned, he's not a hard thrower. He's a fly ball pitcher, an extreme fly ball pitcher. He gets a lot more outs in the air than he does on the ground.
Three and two.
So a lot of times when you see a pitcher pitching up at the top of the zone, you think, well, he's missing. Well, with Bastardo, a lot of times that's the intent.
Because of the rain and the Penguins game tonight, the Monday night. Attendance down, but I think the hyena, whatever thing they're doing here, when you get below a certain attendance, how many people are in the park? Maybe 1,800? That's when they do it. Base hit left field, because everybody can now hear it, which is what makes it so annoying. Wellington Castillo will be used as a pinch hitter for Arrieta.
Ho hum, another outstanding performance for Arrieta. He's becoming remarkably predictable. 7 innings, a 1-run baseball.
And no walks.
I'm sure that was the feeling in the Pirate dugout when they didn't get more out of that first inning. They realized they missed a big opportunity. Right at 100 pitches, 69 of those for strikes tonight for Arrieta.
Putting together a terrific first month, a 1.74 ERA through 3 starts. And guess what? We go to Cincinnati this weekend. Isn't that where they started it? Or did they start it here?
The whooping?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know the origins of that.
I used to like Ric Flair, too. And all of a sudden,
is that who did it? Ric Flair?
That's the woo! That's his thing. Yeah. But 1,500 fans do it. Not quite as entertaining.
I was more of a Gilles the Fish Poisson guy when I was a kid. We used to get this wrestling out of Canada. Cowboy Joe West keeping a keen eye on Bastardo's front leg there. If he steps more towards home than first, he'll call a balk on him. What kind of borderline from my perch here, a mile and a half or so away. Close. They're booing Bastardo. They're booing their own guys. Pickoff throws to first. And Bastardo really deliberate. This can't be fun for the Pirate position players to play behind him.
Denorfia got a great jump. Cubs will stay out of the double play here as Castillo's thrown out. Sam checks in on Twitter. The woos are driving my dog crazy. Yeah, I've got 4 dogs at home. This would be like a bunch of ambulances heading down the street in my house if they were listening to the game tonight. There's Herrera making his 8th straight start. Strike called. You missed it. We told you right off the top the Cubs lost all 6 series against the Pirates last year. We would love to turn that around. Chris Bryant doing his best to help do just that. He's knocked in 3 runs and he scored the 4th. Off the end of the bat, toward right, and a base hit. Here comes the throw to the plate. Denorfia is safe. Throw to second. Goes into center, and Herrera's going to hold there. Cubs have the Pirates throwing the ball all over the diamond here the last few innings. 5-1.
The Cubs getting a lot done with 2 outs in this ball game. Jonathan Herrera chimes in with a little off-field single. That's a good pitch by Bastardo. It's off the plate, down a little bit, but he just pokes it into right. No further advance after the throw by Cervelli, but just to play a little add-on here in the 8th.
Herrera's going to steal third.
Not much gained by stealing third base with 2 outs, but if it's available, take it.
Cameron Strauss, member of the military, active duty, stationed in Kansas. He's from Chicago, and he's watching us tonight. Thanks, Cameron. Hope you're enjoying it. We are.
Feller not having much luck tonight, 0 for 4 so far. But he's been pretty good in this ballpark in the past, and this ballpark suits his game. That big outfield. Pretty good at hitting the ball from line to line. Split a gap, used his speed, much like he did when he was a Rocky.
Swing and a miss to end the inning. Cubs had a run to their lead. It's 5-1. Woo! Woo! Team up to make it a 5-1 game. And right-hander Pedro Strop. Pitch here in the bottom of the 8th.
Comfortable 4-run lead for the Cubs here in the late innings. hand the ball to the capable Pedro Strop. Been very good this year.
Andrew Lambeau pinch hitting. And a strike. One and one. Nasty slider from Pedro. 1-2. Quick pitch. And Lambeau with a little smile.
It's in the scouting report. He's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He's going to ask for time and make sure he's ready.
Swing and a miss on the slider.
That time Strop started early and then kind of held it at the top for a little bit. He's very clever out there. A little hesitation and then go. Good depth on the slider.
Yeah, his slider sometimes moves like a changeup. And he's got his good one working tonight. Well, as my partner would say, could have been. But he didn't get it. Two and 0. I might have to go find the audio on the internet of the Brian Price tirade. This one might be one of the all-timers that I referenced earlier. Not for the faint of heart. If you're not into bad language, I would not try to find it.
Yeah, like some of those Earl Weaver and Tommy Lasorda tirades.
Yeah, where you're using one word as an adjective, a noun, a verb, an adverb. Inserting it into the middle of a multisyllabic word. Kind of has this, my opinion of his performance.
Yeah.
Feel to it. I kind of skimmed the article and the transcript, but what I gathered is that Price is upset that he feels like he's pretty honest with the media. And Brian Price is a very smart guy, and I like him a lot. Yeah, and I think his frustration was, look, I tell you guys, the beat reporters, a lot of stuff, but why does every bit of information, especially the stuff we feel could give the opponent some sort of advantage, why does everything have to be printed? Bryant gets Harrison for out number 2. You've got the off-the-record stuff, and a lot of times a manager will say, don't write this, but here's what's going on. But I think there's an understanding, and it used to be more this way, JD, 20, 30 years ago, where I think managers would tell writers a lot more stuff with the kind of understanding that certain things wouldn't get printed.
Right.
And so he just got really frustrated. I think managers make too much of that sometimes, whether this guy's available or not. But his thing is, well, I'll just tell you nothing then next time. So it's blowing off some steam.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll kind of come around a little bit and try to make peace, because that just doesn't serve you well as a manager to get on the wrong side of the writers. Ultimately, that's it's going to come back and bite you.
Now, look, we talk to managers and coaches and players, and not just the Cubs but other teams, and we find out information And in a lot of cases, we only use it when it's necessary to use. So if we find out a certain reliever might not be available, let's say the closer might not be available one night, you don't go into the game necessarily saying it if the manager doesn't want that to get out. But we are armed with that info if that guy does not appear in the position he normally would, so then we don't wildly speculate. Swing and a miss. Stroke with a 1-2-3-8 and a couple of strikeouts. 5-1 Cubs. Toast of the game. First of many, we have a feeling. Chris Bryant knocking in two with a double, and he would come around to score on the same play. Turned a 1-1 tie into a 4-1 Cubs lead.
Chris on base 3 times tonight. He also walked and singled. The single and RBI single in the 5th. Tied the ball game.
Here's Rob Scahill from Willowbrook High School, Villa Park, Illinois, and then Bradley University in Peoria. Former Colorado Rocky. Soler with 4 hits tonight, but he's going to be retired here for the first and possibly only time tonight. I think Lambo's still in playing right, or Polanco. And now Rizzo continues to be an on-base machine here early on. Scahill from the western suburbs of Chicago, and there's a base hit. Second hit, 4th time on base for Rizzo.
That slugging hasn't come for him, but that will sooner or later. Did the ball with more authority. He just has that good patient approach. He just does not, he doesn't. We talk about pitchers not giving in. He doesn't give in. He doesn't go out of the strike zone very often. He knows what he wants to do at home plate, knows what kind of pitches he can handle. He's become very adept at attacking only those pitches that he feels like he can do something with.
Swing and a miss by Bryant. Walk, double play ball, RBI single to tie it, 2-run double to give the Cubs the lead. And into right. Rizzo on his way to third. Throw there on the relay in time. .965 to get Rizzo at third. Bryant with his third.
Yeah, another great swing by Bryant. This group, we talked about it all night long. Soler, Rizzo, and Bryant. Unbelievable performance tonight. Not a bad idea here by Rizzo. Trying to get to third base. That's something that Joe Maddon really pushed hard on this spring, going first to third. Got a 4-run lead late, just trying to be aggressive. And it's the time to do it, too, if you can get there with 1 out. That certainly makes Montero's job a lot easier.
One quiet 1-2-3 inning. That was the 6th. A lot of traffic and runners left on base in all the other innings. Sometimes left on base numbers can be deceiving. If you have 1 or 2 in a game, that means you're not getting guys on, and you can have 13 or 14 left at the end of the night and you've scored 10 runs. They can't all score. As much as you'd like them to. That takes Alvarez right to first base to end the inning. Bottom 9 coming up. Cubs lead 5-1. Transportation, or for bike riders, use the Cubs courtesy bike check, located near Clark and Addison. For drivers, the Cubs provide free parking and shuttle service on night and weekend games from 3900 North Rockwell. For details, visit Cubs.com. This is Zach Ross Cup, his 4th appearance.
Matt's been impressed with what he has seen from Zach Rosscup thus far. And he's a guy that he can use to not only get out tough left-handed hitters, but he feels comfortable with them against righties. And he'll face a couple tough ones in this inning, and McCutchen and Marte, and he's got the switch hitter Walker in between them.
Continue your your hockey 3-star selection analogy, Bryant Soler would be right at the top. Probably Chris Bryant for the RBIs, but Soler with 4 hits. Rizzo right in the middle of it, 2, 3, 4. And then Arrieta. We've got to find a spot for the starting pitcher.
I know.
What to do?
And have to have co-stars. Cubs banged out 14 hits in this ball game.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, unlike the last 9th inning 4-run lead, Cubs got the first guy out in the inning. That's huge. Ball 1 to Neil Walker. Two and 0.
Montero will sit right down the middle here. Don't just throw a strike. Don't try to get too precise. He got precise. High 3/4 delivery for Roskup. Drives that ball down around the knees. Presents some tough angles for a hitter. And then he can elevate it too.
In the air the other way. Soler, 2 outs. Bring up Starling Marte. Bryant even with a bag at third, and Marte sends it deep to left, and it's gone. That is a 2-out solo home run. Marte has hit 3 here recently after that slow start.
We talked about him earlier. This entire outfield that the Pirates have a combination of speed and power. Marte hit 13 home runs last year, but there's more in there. I mean, this is a big yard, so it's going to be tough to hit home runs in this park. Juice that one.
On the ground, Rizzo will field. Roskup over to cover. Cubs win. Cubs won a wild one here tonight. 5-2 the final. Always good to win no matter what the situation is, but to start a road trip in a city that has been a very difficult place for the Cubs to play.
Yeah, Cubs have won just 6 times in the last 20 tries here prior to tonight. They're coming off a tough weekend where they dropped 2 out of 3 to the Padres. And had Jake Arrieta on the mound tonight, so he felt pretty comfortable they were going to get a good start. He delivered big time, and man, a lot of good at-bats for the middle of that order.
Final score, the Cubs 5 and the Pirates 2. We're back with you Wednesday night on CSN for Game 3 of this 4-game series at 5:30 for pregame coverage. Stay tuned. We're going to have Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs post-game live from Pittsburgh next.